and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Thank you all for coming, and tonight we got a special short treat for you about Monopoly. Now, who hasn't played that game before? It's a cool game, and we just don't know much about it, do we? You know, we always take it for granted that it's just been there. But anyway, tonight this is from that book, The 100 Things You're Not Supposed to Know. If you haven't seen that yet, it's my cool little book. This is number 68. The board game Monopoly was swiped from the Quakers. Who would have thought that? Maybe the little Quaker guy there is, trying to, be a Quaker guy. Who knows? Well, anyway, let's get right into it. And, okay, the board game Monopoly was swiped from the Quakers, and we're going to share the screen here with you. And there we go. Who doesn't love that little guy running around? He always looks so happy, and when you pass go, you get $200. Monopoly, according to its manufacturer, has been played by over 500 million people, translated into 26 languages, as well as Braille. Who knew blind people could play this? It's sold 200 million copies as of 1999, and the latest figure makes a maker has an announcement. Over 5 billion of these greenhouses have been stamped, and each year countless dead trees are turned into $500 billion of rainbow-hued money. Who didn't love that little money? I would grab that money and run around with it. That was so fun. Ooh, there's a wooden board Monopoly game. Definitely used a lot of trees there. In other words, this popular game, the most successful board game ever. The official story that the toy tinkerer named Charles Darrow from Germantown, Pennsylvania, created this billion-dollar game out of a whole cloth in 1934. However, the official story is what was made from the whole cloth. The economic professor Ralph Amperspach cooked up a parody game called Anti-Monopoly. The goal is to bust trustees, not build them. Parker Brothers, not surprisingly, took him to court. While researching the game's history for the lawsuit, Amperspach stumbled upon a hidden truth. Using dog detective work, he assembled and suppressed the history of Monopoly. Well, who would have thought that? Let's see, look at that. There's an old game board. That's one of the originals. Greatly simplified, it goes like this. The roots stretch back to Landlord's Game, a monopolistic game patented in 1904 by the cross-dressed bohemian and game inventor named Lizzie Maggie. The game mutated into a folk game called Monopoly. As charmingly quaint as it may seem, people used to spend their hour after hour playing the board game with each other, and would even hand make their own copies of game boards, cards, and pieces. From 1910 to early 1930, this is what happened with Monopoly, mainly in the northeastern U.S. While visiting her hometown in Indianapolis, Indiana in 1929, a Quaker teacher named Ruth Hutchins was introduced to the game by a childhood friend. She made a copy, which she took back to Atlantic City, New Jersey. Her friends and colleagues, themselves Quakers, soon decided to redo the game using pieces or places from their own neck of the woods: Pacific Avenue, Park Place, the boardwalk, etc. Yeah, we all know those. They also added little hotels in addition to houses. It is crucial rule changing that they removed the property auctions and gave each piece a pretend real estate a fixed value, making the game so simple that even little kids could play. Eventually, a Quaker couple invited another couple to play the game. Oops. We got to go back one here. To play the game. Yeah, who wouldn't play the game? That's how Charles Darrow was introduced to Monopoly. He showed great interest, pressing his hosts to explain all the fine points of the game. When he asked them to type up the rules and make a board for him, they thought he was a demanding bastard. But they complied. Next thing you know, Darrow is selling it as a game he created. He had lifted the Quakers Atlantic City version wholesale, making only some superficial changes to the game board, such as putting a colored stripe across the top of the squares instead of the original triangles in the bottom left corner. He then sold it to Parker Brothers, still pretending to have invented it. The company soon discovered the ruse but went along with it, omitting and suppressing evidence of the game's true origins when they patented it under Darrow's name. In the ruling against Parker Brothers' effort to torpedo anti-monopoly, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals officially agreed with the facts that Ampersnatch unearthed, declaring that the reference to Darrow as the inventor and the creator of the game is clearly erroneous. The Supreme Court upheld the decision. Even today, Hasbro, which assimilated Parker Brothers, won't acknowledge the origins of their cash cow. They have, however, craftily modified their so-called history of Monopoly. The game's website, now coyly, refers to the legend of the game's birth, which commences when Darrow showed the game to the suits at Parker Brothers. They don't say that he created it, although that's the impression you'd get if you didn't know the real story. And so there you go. Who hasn't seen these cool editions of Monopoly? It seems like they come out with one every few years. Get on that board and you start on go and you go down Baltic Avenue. You cross the Reading Railroad, Oriental Avenue, and then you would come to the just visiting the jail, of course. Then you move down St. Charles Place. You skip over Virginia Avenue and you go to St. James Place, just missing the Pennsylvania Railroad, which you would have to pay rent on because somebody already owns it. You might land on the community chest and get a free get-out-of-jail pass card. Moving on, you go to the free parking spot because you rolled the dice just so you can make it to another roll without paying rent. Then you roll the dice again, and luckily you land on the waterworks, where you only have to pay another small rental fee, because if you would have landed on Marvin Gardens and there was a hotel on there, oh boy, would you be out of luck and out of money. Then you move on past the jail, and you continue on till you get to what is it? The Short Line Railroad, missing North Carolina Avenue and Pacific Avenue. You're so lucky. Then you roll the dice and you get a 2, and you land on Park Place. Unfortunately, there's a couple hotels there, and you end up paying all the money you have, going broke in the process and losing the game, never passing go again. That's how it's kind of summed up. And there you go, people. There's our story of Monopoly 101 today. I hope you all enjoyed that. It was fun. I think everybody's played some sort of Monopoly. I sure always loved to be the little car. I was always the little car. Who didn't like the little car? You know? And most people wanted to be the top hat or the little dog. But I always liked to be the little car. I had to have the little car because it was just cute. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that. Go out, leave me a comment, give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and you know, that's what keeps this rhythm going. Please share it with people. Maybe you or somebody else will figure this out and come on over here and love to hear the little shorts I do. Well, with all that said and done, we're gonna pass on the buck. Yeah, just as Monopoly is. Pass the buck, and don't get stopped at the jailhouse now. So anyway, remember, go out and do something nice for somebody. And maybe this winter, take that old Monopoly box out. Sit down with some friends, Quit watching that TV, for gosh darn sakes. You know, sit down with that game, put it on the floor or on the table, kitchen table, sit around with your friends and play a good old-fashioned game in Monopoly. It'll take hours and burn up most of the day while the snow flies. Have some munchies on hand. It's a great fun, talking, playing. It'll get everybody closer together. Either that or you go home hating each other, one or the other. So with that, be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. Have a great day. Peace, everybody.